Give the Word document promise, please.
Hello, and welcome everyone to Thursday Eye for May 14th, 2026. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with Weights and Biases, and I am so happy to be back live on air with Thursday Eye after my 1 week off. I'm a married man now. So that happened over the last week. And I will add co-hosts here. What's up, guys? Good morning.
Hey, congrats. Yay, it's
Thank
good
you.
to have you back.
Thank you. I wish I had like confetti effect for all of you. I have a confetti
Pew,
effect
pew.
locally,
We'll do
but
it for you.
not for everyone. Good morning or evening for Yaman and Wolfram. It's an evening. Good morning to Ryan. How you guys doing? How is everybody who's joining the stream doing?
Good. We're glad you're back, man. Yam and I did our best, but it wasn't Alex's show, so we're glad you're back.
I thought I saw just a little bit, because I tried to disconnect. And for folks who are just tuning in, I took a week off last week to get married and just celebrate with family. Touched some grass. Barely used any agents during that week, which was very surprising. I did switch to Hermes, which we'll talk about later on the show. But besides this, barely touched agents, and I did watch a little bit, and you guys seem like you're having fun, which is the most important thing on Thursday. As long as we're having fun, I think the audience is having fun with. And I saw a bunch of comments as well. So first of all, thank you guys for holding the show, and I'm sure more will come from that. Let's just go around and just talk about some stuff. Yam, it looks like he's organizing his chair, so we'll skip. Yam, how you doing, man?
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats. Hey, I never sleep. Like you come back from a week of getting married. First sentence is, yeah, I switched to Hermes. It's a great agent.
You also switched?
No,
you mean
this
is how I come back
joking.
from a week of offline? Yeah, I switched to a
Yeah.
different AI agent and installed a bunch of them. Yeah, that's how life is in the AI evangelism world. So I wanted to ask you guys to do like a super quick one for me, because I was really not caught up. The only thing I know about last week was GPT Real Time 2, and I know you guys talked about this.
Breaking news. We even pressed the button.
Oh, no way. Let's go. Give me like one or two most important releases from last week that I shouldn't have missed. Like, we're not going to cover them fully today. We have a full week of AI releases. But what is the most important from last week that you guys covered at length that I should not miss?
Look, there have been some gossip, you can say.
All right.
Some gossip topics about stuff. Apologize for getting organized here. But I think that there were many on-topic, interesting news over the past from last week. Let me just pull them up in a moment. I'm still organizing here, so if anybody can.
I think the one Yam we talked the most about was the SpaceX Anthropic deal. Just
that's insane.
That was big, right? So we talked a bunch about that.
Conjecture. Did you guys talk about the fact that the Grok, how should I say, the utilization in their CPUs is rumored like to run like at 15% or something, and they found.
But we all knew that, right? It's like nobody uses Grok. So
dude, I saw an incredible clip from you guys is going around the web talking about like nobody uses Grok. I saw some people on my timeline starting saying, "Hey, Grok 4.3, which also kind of released last week-ish, that you guys also talked about, is not too bad. It's not too bad." And people saying they use it for search.
But we talked about this. It's like nobody has time to try this stuff except for Wolfram and Wolfram Bench. It's like we got shit to do. Like, I'm going to use soda models, and then like until Grok becomes something I really need to pay attention to, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, makes sense. There is a reason Grok is not that great at code. It's not bad at writing, and definitely the state of the art. And Ryan, I told you guys this for hundreds of times. Like, when I do research for Thursday AI, Grok is the best model.
I get it. You're being paid secretly by Elon. I know that.
Oh, trust me. We'll get to the Musk versus Altman trial coverage today. For folks who are just listening, Elon Musk sued OpenAI 2 years ago or so, for stealing a charity, and that trial is going on right now. Actually, there's live the conclusions, closing statements that are going to happen today. I listened to a bunch of it for you guys, so you don't have to listen because it's like all boring courtroom drama. Some of it's not boring. Sam Altman was on stage and got cross-referenced by Elon's like lawyers. Satya Nadella was on stage. Ilya came from his I really wanted to say something that's not appropriate to the show, from his cave. Some of you know which cave I mean. Ilya came from his SSI cave and then talked about how he ousted Sam Altman. You guys remember the Black November release? So there's a few very interesting things from that trial. I know where I lean had I been a jury on that trial, Ryan. Like, let's say I know where I lean. Does not seem like it's Uncle Space Uncle. That does not seem like, based on what they're saying, is that he's going to win there. But that's my personal view. Maybe there's different ones. So for folks who are just listening, we are going to cover this trial just a little bit. We don't have sides, but it's very interesting the goings on there. And also, we finally get to see what happened. We're going to have to talk about what the board thought about Sam Altman, what the board released. There's a bunch of messages between all of them. Siobhan Zilis, the mother of 4 Elon Musk's kids, is very strongly involved. She was on the board at some point in OpenAI. There's a bunch of stuff. So we'd love to just cover that. But yes, SpaceX, Anthropic, and this is after Elon called Anthropic misanthropic, and now they're working together. I love it. I just absolutely love that. How about this week? Since you guys braved the live stream of Thursday Eye, what is the most interesting thing that happened in your kind of feeds since then? It wasn't a crazy busy week. We didn't get tons of new models, so a very chill show today. Let's go around and talk about this. Ryan, maybe you start.
I mean, because my whole world is legal tech and legal AI right now, because that's what I'm building.
Hello, Tangle, by the way, if you're in Connecticut and
yeah, if you're in Connecticut, divorced,
and planning to get divorced, hit Ryan up. Yeah.
Hey, focused vertical markets, everybody.
Hey, I'm not getting paid by Hello and Tangle, by the way. Ryan Startup is not paying me to chill. I already got divorced. I got
free advertising, and you're never getting divorced again.
So, no. I got divorced once. Actually, I got divorced twice. I'll tell you about this later. But,
okay, never again. I obviously care about legal tech, legal AI a lot. Everybody is talking about the new MCPs that Anthropic added for Claude. They're all basically a bunch of legal API. So everyone's like, "Oh, Harvey's dead, Lagora's dead," and it's been a very exciting week from that perspective.
Harvey, Lagora are two kind of wrapper startups that many lawyer companies use, right?
Juggernauts, worth multi-billions of dollars now. So
wrapper life. Yam, how about you? Or are you still sorting? Let's go to Wolfram.
Okay, so this week, it's nothing we can use right now, but seeing the interaction models by thinking machines, that was a great glimpse into what we will soon be able to use and how the interaction with AI will become. So more of the her style, and yeah, we've been promised it, and we are still waiting for it. And it's great what OpenAI released, which we can use now, and we will cover it on the show as well.
Yeah.
But it's also great to see how far it can evolve very quickly, because it's already being tested internally.
Yeah. So interaction models from Mira Murati's thinking machines, a lab that a former, was she a CTO of OpenAI, I think? No, Greg Brockman was CTO. She was
marketing something.
No, she was CTO, I think. Greg was a president or something. Anyway, Mira Murati is one of the 4 OpenAI main people on that picture. She created Thinking Machines Lab, brought with her a bunch of people from OpenAI, a bunch of other places. They all seem like dropping. The original cast of Thinking Machines seem like getting pulled by Zuck to some extent. So that's interesting. Some of their equity is vesting, and they finally released something. So far, they released Tinker, which was a fine-tuning-ish service. And now they have an announcement about models. We didn't see the models or the ability to use them. It's very interesting. But the demos are fire. So we're going to talk about interaction models. Thank you, Wolfram. We actually know the number of Krea. It's 276 MOE. We're going to cover this in the TLDR. And, we got Nistin on and got Yam. What's up, folks? All right. Nistin, we're doing the rounds of the most interesting thing happened last week. You always have a left field one. I'm going to put you on the spot. since the show last week? What is the one thing that caught your eye that we must absolutely know about?
I don't have something that left field. In fact, I am just going for President Lincoln's Twitter right now to remember.
Can we shout out? You want to show President Lin? He's not so secretly a great source for us. We have a friend on the timelines, President Lin. His nickname is I think he's Anon, and he is 100%. A place where I go and my agents go to research. He adds and retweets every single thing that happened in the world of open source. So we'll shout out President Lin. Ryan, how about we talk about yours, and then Yam, I think you're left.
I just quit OpenClaw today.
Ooh,
I'm just so freaking tired of doctoring my OpenClaw through.
Wait, Ryan, let's do this properly.
Okay, Pete, I love you. I'm so sorry, but I'm just done with OpenClaw. It's the constant breaking, so I'm always fixing OpenClaw and I'm done. So I literally, before the show, just switched to Codex. I'm just going to use Codex, and that's it. So R2, who's my favorite EA in the whole world,
is dead.
It's done.
R2 is dead.
R2 now lives in Codex. I mean,
I find it very interesting. Sorry to interrupt. Wolfram has Amy, right? Yes, and Amy is not OpenClaw entity. Amy is a set of files plus memories plus something plus something. So R2 is kind of like that as well. You're porting R2's memories down the line.
Yeah, and this is the cool thing is you just say to OpenClaw, export the system, right?
Yeah.
And then you just grab it and say to Codex, import the system, and they're so good at this stuff, right? So it can create automations and all sorts of cool stuff. So there we go.
So I think that Wolfram, I'll get to you in a second. I see you have a comment. I'll just say what we're talking about, why we're talking about this banter instead of news. Folks, we have a fairly chill week, and we have a guest coming up later on the show, Vic Perez from Krea. But since it's a chill week, many of you who come to us on different events, you guys tell us that you love the banter. So we'll banter. And I will join Ryan and say that I no longer have an OpenClaw running. I have a Hermes, and it fucking slaps. Wolfram, go ahead.
I have two things to say about this because, for one thing, I met Peter Steinberger at the OpenClaw, the ClawCon in London, and I told him in January when I started with OpenClaw, I still had full hair. And now, after all the upgrade trouble, look at me. And yeah, he laughed, of course, that he couldn't promise more stability, but he announced an LTS release just recently. So I will retry it, but I switched to OpenClaw a month ago or
Switched
something,
to Hermes.
maybe even longer. Yeah, to Hermes from OpenClaw. And I just migrated using Codex, the thing for my Home Assistant, where I made an add-on, where Hermes was running on Home Assistant. And I basically, yesterday, it has been 3 years that I have been using Amy. I created her 3 years ago and gave her a Mac Mini as a birthday present. And so I told Codex to talk to, so Codex Amy talked to the Hermes agent on Home Assistant Amy and make a migration plan. So they talk to each other. The Codex used its computer to use Mattermost in my browser and send messages to the other agent.
Nice.
And they made a migration plan. It really migrated everything. And so I'm using Codex as well much more now. It's really amazing. And I still use Hermes, of course, and now it has a full system to control. So very, very looking forward to more power in AI agent use.
So Ryan's off OpenClaw, Wolfram's off OpenClaw, I'm also off. And may I say, GPT 5.5 with Hermes is exactly the same feeling that I had with OpenClaw when we brought it to you guys back in February. Things just work. And I haven't had to, I'm going to lie. I had to fix one update that it updated itself and some migration with Kanban didn't work. It was easy. Besides this, everything that I want works, which is exactly what I wanted from my thing. Ryan, I'm fully with you. At some point, the Lego construction, the Lego building of OpenClaw gets to you. And in the beginning, it's like, okay, fine. But at some point, you want to do it. I have a announcement to make on stage. I don't know if you guys remember. We talked 3 weeks ago, but just before my wedding, we talked about Stripe Wallet and the ability to give your agents payment links, payment ability, right? So Stripe released a set of APIs during their Stripe sessions, wherein you can teach your Claw or your agents or whatever to go and get a budget from your credit cards and then use that to spend money on the web without seeing your credit card number, and you have to approve it in the app. So my task for my agent, my Wolfred agent, was, hey, and I actually did this live. I tried to do this live. It didn't really work because back then it was OpenClaw. Go and buy us a gift for our wedding. So I actually want to show this. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to go over there. Here we go. And this arrived in the mail. As you guys can see, let me see if I can turn off the effect. This arrived in the mail. This is like a huge map of our travels that just arrived in the mail. And my agent ordered this, paid for it. All I had to do is approve, and it just arrived as a present. It was so nice, guys. It was fucking incredible because all I had to do is say, hey, go find us a wedding present. Don't tell me what it is. Because it was OpenClaw, I had to do a bunch of other stuff as well. But since then, I've been using my agents and Stripe payments, Stripe wallet links, Stripe link wallets to pay for stuff. And Hermes just absolutely does it. I had it pay a traffic bill that I had, like a speed railway, just by taking a screenshot of this bill and say, go pay this. No interventions at all. We're back. We're back at that feeling. Like, I know many people installed OpenClaw after we told them, and they're like, they tried it. Anthropic kind of killed it. We should talk about the Anthropic pricing structure thing that they are playing with now as well. But folks, we're back. And if you want that feeling as well, Ryan, I know you went to Codex fully. I feel like Codex is missing some of the parts that I need. Hermes is where it's at. And I will say, Muse research folks have been friends of our pod for the longest time. And I was too OpenClaw pilled to notice how good Hermes is getting. And also the switch cost me like a lot of anxiety. I was like, I needed to get to a breaking point of OpenClaw to finally do the switch. And then Wolfram, your switch also helped me kind of realize that like I'm missing agent time. And since then I'm back, and now I have a fully trusted assistant that can do payments for me and execute stuff and pay bills. So that's great. So shout out to the Muse research folks for this great agent. They also had LDJ is going to come soon, hopefully, and cover TST. But if I don't know, Yam, if you looked at TST already from Muse research, if you want to mention this at some point.
I just want to tell you, I just let Codex CLI do browser use on my real browser.
Yeah.
And my credit card is there, and it just buys stuff. Like, it's as simple as that. It just works. And I know people are afraid, and it sounds crazy, but I mean, it's so afraid to do it on its own that I really think nothing ever happens, because you tell it to do something and you see how terrified in the terminal it is to actually do the thing, because like it's a real credit card and it understands, and you see it click the browser and like thinking, working. Like if you put extra high thinking, it's gonna think. Yeah. Well, and I did, and I just do it. I tell it like to order food for lunch and small things, and it actually happens. So I get what you guys are saying, but like, yeah, full computer use, it's gonna sort it out.
This is why I'm in Codex. It's like computer use is great. You know what? I don't want another tool. So here we go.
Speaking of computer use, and I'm not getting paid to shill, but do you guys remember the whole coolness? And I tried to show you this with computer use. It runs in the background. Codex has bought Sky Software Inc. And then these folks are like the folks who build workflows in Apple, etc. And they built background computer use. So like when Codex does full computer use, it doesn't take over your machine. So there's a startup called Krea, and there is an integration in Hermes. So Hermes can actually now do computer use as well with the background. It's super cool. It's not as fast as Codex, but it's really, really super cool. So it's also there. All right, folks, I think enough banter. We can also do more banter, but I think it's time. Wolfram, last banter, and then we'll go to TLDR.
Speaking of Codex, to me it now feels like an everything app. Basically, for decades I've used two windows on my main screen. left as an editor with the terminal as part of it, and right was the browser. And now I started to use Codex much more, which has a built-in browser and a built-in terminal as well. And you can do so much stuff. And instead of going into the text files, my documentation, my agent has all the documentation. So I don't even have to look that deeply anymore and just organize it on a higher level. So I think there's a big paradigm change coming up with how we work, managing our agents instead of directly doing stuff.
100%.
Hopefully taking off.
Alrighty.
Just want to say, Codex CLI with all the memory and GPT-5.5 and all the new stuff, it's just crazy good.
Yep.
You tell it to send something to a new agent. I mean, all the Codex CLI can get steering while they work, even if it's like on goal and then it goes obsessive over the prompt. You know this mod. By the way, that's a crazy cool mod and everyone should use it. I'm just saying, they can talk to each other if you tell them. They just type in each other's terminal. It's crazy. Alex, you want to say something?
Yes, I do want to say something super quick. And I really hope the fucking Tech News is watching this, because so can Hermes. One of the best things about fucking Hermes is that there is a steer mode. Do you know how many times I had to explain to people who installed OpenClaw 2 that are using this to Telegram? Hey, if you send a message immediately after your message, the agent will see your second message only at the end of the processing of all the tools. Do you know how many times I had to explain this to a person? And they're like, no, that's not how texting works. And in Hermes, if you set steering in, it's a built-in feature for GPT 5.5 and Codex, etc. If you build steering in, that's how it works with a human. You know how much difference that conversation makes to me?
Oh, yeah.
It's just crazy. Steering is a crazy concept, and Hermes supports it. And Hermes supports a bunch of other stuff. And also, it's one of the top performing coding things on Wolfbench. All right, enough with the Hermes glazing. I'm just, I like the new tools, and when I get a new tool, I get excited. You get excited as well. This is why we're here for, folks. I think it's enough banter. Though I will say, I missed you guys, and I missed this, and so I can go on forever in this format as well without just like covering the news. But we do have to at least acknowledge that some people tune in here to know what the hell is going on this week. And we at least need to tell them. And also Nistan tunes in here because he doesn't follow. He's locked into the whole week. So at least let's make Nistan know what's going on during the week.
Yeah, I'm just using multiple Linux X2 tool windows with Claude Code. It's a little bit slow, but my tools are 20 years old, dude. Yes. It's just...
You really don't know how funny it is. Like I think 10 minutes ago, before the show started, we obviously have an agent in the office that is connected to all the code and everything. And like the Codex, the way I wrote the code, it's not Hermes, it's nothing. It's just a Python script. I just wrote the code. There is a fallback. If the tokens end on Codex, it's usually Codex. If the token ends, it just switches to Claude Code, and so it can respond to you. And the tokens ended, and I immediately just rushed to the guy that fixed it, just to tell him, you have to you have to pay for the tokens and like make it work. Otherwise, people are now running Claude Code, and the entire office is going to be destroyed in like 5 minutes because Claude is going to do something stupid. Like 4.7 is just, it doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything. It's going to do whatever you tell him. And
folks, we are adapting to these new tools with an insane pace. 4.7 is absolutely a beast model. And now, after we had 5.5 for a while, it seems like we're all in agreement that like this is the one. We're like fucking fish that like swim in flock towards the best intelligence. And then we just immediately forget what happened in the past. This is crazy. 4.7 is absolutely a great model. 4.6 also, but 5.5 they cooked. They absolutely cooked. All right, folks, I think it's time for the TLDR. Although this banter is, I think, absolutely the reason why many other people joined the show, so we have to balance kind of the needs of all. But let's run through everything that happened in the world of AI, and then we're gonna cover some of that, and then maybe more banter. And a reminder, we do have a guest today. I actually had two guests, but one of them is not gonna come. So we're gonna have Victor Perez from Krea, co-founder, and I think co-founder is the great title. Alrighty, actually, we need to switch. Let's go to TLDR. This is the TLDR. This is the part of the show on Thursday where we talk briefly about everything we're going to cover or everything that happened in the world of AI for last week. So in case you have missed anything, we're here to make sure that you're caught up. And in this week's TLDR, this is May 14th, with you, Alex Volkov, AI evangelist with Weights and Biases. Our co-host for today, Wolf from Ravenwolf, Jan Peleg, Nistan Tahiri, and Ryan Carson. Hopefully we'll get LJ at some point soon. And then our guest for today is Victor Perez from Krea to talk about Krea 2, their fully trained model, AI art model. In big companies and APIs this week, one of the coolest things that I saw coming out from Meta Superintelligence Labs, they launched Muse Spark a month ago. And they finally integrated this within the Meta AI app, and they've added voice-powered conversations with real-time imaging and Reels and Maps integrations and live camera AI inside the Meta AI app. Not yet in the glasses, but they're promising that this is going to come to the glasses very, very soon. So previously they used Llama models, now they're using the Muse Spark models, and it's really nice. And I played with it. I have a video to show you in case we won't be able to do a live demo, but it's really, really cool. So don't sleep on this. The huge thing that Meta has obviously is distribution. Huge thing that Meta has is distribution. They can shove this to any product surface, from Instagram to WhatsApp to Facebook, etc. So don't sleep on that one. Like many people will use this AI, and we're going to tell you and show you all about this. And it's not bad. It's not half bad. It's actually fairly surprisingly good. The other thing that Wolfram already mentioned, Mira Murati's Thinking Machines Lab, TML, drops interaction models. And by drops here, we mean announce and don't release any way to use them or download them or inference against them, but they announce a set of interaction models at 276 billion apparently MOE. They trained it from scratch for native real-time human AI collaboration. Those are full duplex models that can do things while they answer you and can listen to you while they are responding. It is really cool. Those are fully multimodal models. They can identify video and audio in the same time and speak as well. If you guys remember the demo from 2 years ago with Rocky with the hat with OpenAI's real-time kind of like API, they kind of released that in the model. Didn't release it. Also this week, coming to the culmination today, actually, Musk v. Altman trial. I find it a very funny name, Musk v. Altman, because Elon Musk is suing OpenAI and Microsoft for some reason. But the name of the trial is Musk v. Altman, so it's like a direct thing. So a trial wherein Elon Musk and sues Sam Altman and OpenAI for stealing a charity, quote unquote. And there's a jury and there's live testimony, and the courtroom was so crowded with fans of Elon Musk, apparently, that they decided to live stream the whole thing on YouTube. And so we listened to a bunch of this. At least I did, and my Hermes agent did listen to a bunch of it. And so we have some nuggets for you from this trial. Obviously, no conclusions yet because the jury is going to deliberate for weeks. I don't know how long. But some nuggets from live testimony from Sam Altman, Satya Nadella, and Ilya Sutskever, which is very interesting. Ilya gave a pearl there that I have to bring to you as well. Anthropic Claude is always in the news, and finally they've clarified some usage around the programmatic use. You guys remember at some point folks who used OpenClaw got cut off from the Anthropic Max subscription, right? The $200 or $100 max subscription. So did folks who use PyDev and T3 Chat and whatever, the Open Code and like a bunch of other harnesses that kind of like jumped on the Anthropic max subscription. So Anthropic clarified some usage, and we're going to mention that for you as well, because I think it's important to know for those who use agentic and Anthropic. Now that everybody switches to GPT 5.5, I think it's a bit too late from Anthropic, but we'll see. OpenAI launches Daybreak, a frontier AI cybersecurity platform pairing GPT 5.5 and Codex as well. So we're going to mention that. And let's move on to open source AI. Fairly slow. Folks, sorry, let me pause here. Big companies and LLMs. Any huge big company news that I've missed that we must absolutely cover here? Anybody have something?
I saw rumors about Cerebrus IPO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Yam, this is not last week. No rumors. We try. Sometimes we do mention rumors, but we really do try to like talk about what happened versus what might happen and what may happen when. But rumors are, yeah. Nistan DeepSeek Flash model, didn't that release together with the actual DeepSeek 2 weeks ago? I don't know.
Yes, but people are finding it to be like the sweet spot now for home compute. I haven't tried it. All my tooling is still built around Kimi 2.5. Even 2.6 was giving me trouble. But
all right, back to TLDR, Nissan.
Yeah.
All right, so open source AI. Fastino Labs dropped something called GLI Guard. It's 300-meter parameter open source guardrail model that matches state-of-the-art safety models up to 93x its size. Literally, AI wrote this whole sentence, and so I'm reading some AI slop, but we're going to take a look at this Fastino Lab. This is interesting. I don't know if you guys saw this. Meta dropped another model, not an LLM. This is called Sapiens 2. It's 6 VIT models trained on 1 billion human images for segmentation for pose and shape and point maps for 3D. We're having more McGuire send us something from this. So let me see if it's possible for me to like click this link and open this link. Let's see. Is this the right link?
While you read that, Alex, one thing that we should talk about is just the huge the TAN stack supply chain hack. I mean, this has just been brutal. It's what my most viral tweet ever was, just telling people about it. So
okay. Send me the link to your tweet and then we'll cover this. I definitely want to mention this because I think AI is involved to some extent to all these like supply chain attacks. But yeah, we'll is this the mini Shai Hulud war, right?
Yeah, I'm pushing a scanner for that now. I was so close myself. TanStack store was not affected, and I used Preact, not React, but that was pretty close. It's a very competent developer that this happened to. Like a lot of stuff depends on TanStack. So
TanStack is building Mac apps, correct? For wrapping Mac apps, or is that like more stuff?
No, it's just an alternative to like Next.js and other things. So
yeah,
there was also a PyPy, exposure here too. It's just kind of everywhere.
Oof. All right, so I think this is it for open source AI, and then we will move to tools and agentic engineering. This is something we have to talk about at length, because I think the reason for us to exist in the show is to try out the new tools, and there's a bunch of new things. Apparently, there's a new, like, it's not new. Every other coding harness has decided that Ralph Loops is the hot shit. After we told you about Ralph Loops, in January, our biggest episode, I think, of January, Ryan, we talked about Ralph Loops. So they all implemented Ralph Loops and they called it /goal. So now Codex supports /goal. Claude Code supports /goal from I think this week, the beginning of this week, and Hermes also has /goal, and we're gonna tell you what /goal actually means and why you should absolutely use this. And then we told you about Ralph Loops, but we're gonna definitely tell you again why you absolutely should use the /goal kind of command everywhere that you use your agents, because it's great. I wanted to mention this. Hermes now has background computer use, and Hermes also switched over OpenClaw and is now the #1 open router used app, which is huge. So shout out to News Research for this release. It's very unlike it for us to only tell you about things after they get popular. So this is definitely on me. But Wolfram has told you that he switched a while ago. But shout out to the News Research for this great achievement on Open Router. Hermes agent passed OpenClaw and now is the most used CLI agent on there and has computer use. And Artificial Analysis launched Coding Agent Index, benchmarking model plus harness combos. I wonder where we have seen something that measures not only the LLM, but also the harness. I wonder where before we have seen this. Before Artificial Analysis, our friends, by the way, of the pod, decided to also test this. Wolfbench is where we've seen this. So Artificial Analysis looked at the successful Wolfbench and decided to release an index that measures not only model intelligence, but also harness intelligence. Wolfram, we're going to chat about this and how this connects. Yes. Thank you, Milosh. Thank you. This is where we've seen this. We've seen this in Wolfbench. Exactly. But the fact that we're there first doesn't mean that we need to be there the only ones. And it's great for open artificial analysis to step in there, because I think increasingly it's more important. This week's buzz, we're not going to give you Wolfbench updates yet because we have some cool things cooking, but we have some announcement, which is breaking news from this morning from CW, and we're going to mention this. In Vision Video, we have Perceptron Mk1 launches as a frontier video and embodied reasoning model. They claim to match Gemini and GPT on video benchmarks at 1/10 of the price. Perceptron has been on the show for a minute. When we talked about Perceptron, we're going to test it out a little bit more as well. And last but not least, we're going to have Vic Perez from Krea to talk about Krea 2. This is their first foundational image model built from scratch. Previously, they interacted with Black Forest Labs to fine-tune an image model, and now they have a foundational model trained from scratch. In the world of fine-tuning and big models, I like fully appreciate that this is something that they do, so we're going to mention that as well. All right, folks, this is a light week, so we were able to go into details. And so one detail that I do wanted to go in there, I really wanted LDJ for this here, but one detail is Muse Research is a research org. Not only a agent lab, is a research org, and they have released TST. So let me pull this up, and we'll start there. Just a brief comment about that, because I think it's very important. Token superposition training is something that I think we're going to put this in open source, because they're going to help open source as well. So Muse Research TST. I'm not showing anything, so I will show you in a second. Let's do it like that. Muse Research TST. Token superposition training, a modification to a standard LLM pre-training loop that produces a 2 to 3 wall clock speed up at match flops without changing the model architecture, optimize the token as a training data. Shout out to Muse Research folks, because like we mentioned this multiple times, techniques like extending context memory, etc., also came from like a bunch of folks from Muse. So besides the Hermes stuff, they also release a great research. We're gonna maybe go into this. I think that's it, folks. I think that this is the TLDR. Not a huge week, and finally we're getting a little bit of a break between like running behind releases and trying to test them out. And we can actually tell the folks who are listening to the show what we use and how we use this. And I think for that, let's start with big companies. Let's start with open source. There's not a lot in open source. Let's start with open source and then switch to agentic engineering. So let's go to open source first. Open source AI, let's get it started. Alrighty, so not a lot in open source in AI this week, but we will absolutely talk about the supply chain attack in a moment. But before this, I wanted to cover this Festino Labs GLI guard super quick. I think this one comes from Lincoln, a friend of the pod. 300 million parameter open source guardrail model that matches STORA safety models up to 93x its size. Guardrails models are very important. We mentioned before the release of OpenAI is kind of like obfuscator personal information model. This one is a little bit different. This one is testing out. Let me find this. This one is testing out the theory of why would you use a bigger model for classification of dangerous tasks when a smaller 300 million parameter model is sufficing. So this model is supposedly looking at models like LlamaGuard. Let me see if I can zoom in here for you guys. Yeah, let's call it a zoom in. This model is significantly smaller than LlamaGuard 4, which is a 12 billion parameter model, and NemoGuard and Qwen3 Guard and Shield Gemma. So all the major labs, when they release open source models, they also release kind of like guardrail models. What do they do? Listen, you want to talk about like guardrail models for just like 2 sentences to explain to folks why those models are important?
Yeah, if you're going to serve inference as like your product or your website, and you don't want to get sued or have people post really weird stuff about it, usually the simplest thing you can do is, let's just say you have an app about knitting. It could be anything, really. You just scan every response and you pass it to a small LLM and you say, hey, is this response or this question about this knitting app, or does this have nothing to do at all with it? Or is this an exploit? And usually models are pretty good at that. You also do this for removing personally identifiable information, like PIIs from medical stuff, and that was a very good PII model that OpenAI released, and some people have made good fine tunes of that. So yeah, you just use a very tiny model, and then you scan every single message with it back and forth.
Yep.
So these are what filter models are used. They're essential if you're going to have any kind of UI or chat app or your service.
If you ever sent a message to ChatGPT and got a decline, this is likely a classification model on their end running a guardrail and stopping you from sending that prompt. If you're asking for drugs or whatever people jailbreak is they first jailbreak that kind of layer. And so GLI guard is 300 million parameters because running that model on every inference, on every question to your agent from your people is very expensive. So 300 million models is really, really great. And it looks like DoorDash is using this as well. So shout out to Festina Labs. This is on Hugging Face. They have an archive blog. Let's move on a little bit here. This one is also, I want to mention super quick, Meta. This is not an LLM. This is a very small family of VAT models from Meta that work on shape and body position segmentation and also normals and point maps. So this is for recreating 3D people. This trained on 1 billion human images. I wonder where Meta got 1 billion human images, but I think it's really, really cool. Let's read kind of the blurb here. It's anybody who works with human-centric vision. This is a family of 6 VAT models, 0.1 billion all the way to 5 billion parameters. They train on 1 billion human images. These aren't demos. These are state-of-the-art pose estimation with key points including detailed face and hands, body part segmentation with 29 classes. Improvements over Sapiens are great. 4% on pose, 24% on segmentation. So this model and series of models is for a very specific use case. You can imagine some savory use cases, like you use this for 3D modeling. You can imagine some less savory use cases, like tracking people using cameras everywhere. So this model can also be used to that, like pose segmentation and face segmentation. So this is from Meta, and they release a bunch of stuff. Okay, now open source is great, but it also could be a scary thing. And Ryan, I think we want to talk about the supply chain attacks. We've covered supply chain attacks before, but this one was a major one, and we should absolutely mention what's going on in the world so people can kind of like know what's going on. So you wanna kick this off? I'll pull up your thread.
Yeah. So this was revealed by one of many security organizations. And essentially a very, very clever hacker, I assumed augmented by AI, really figured out I would call vulnerability in GitHub actions. So even though Tanstack is being blamed here, I think this is really coming from GitHub, which is probably not a happy thing to say. GitHub's not like that, but basically, they figured out a way to inject a vulnerability into a PR that basically grabbed all your keys. I mean, it's just a brutal, scary hack. And if you ran an npm update, during this time period when it was exposed on Tanstack and a number of other npm packages, you will get destroyed. It's very scary.
And by destroy, you mean multiple things here. So I do want to mention like the number of things you mean by destroyed. So first of all, this attack seems to have focused on AI engineers specifically. So like based on this post from International Cyber Digest that Ryan you quote tweeted, the malware specifically targets AI developer tooling. It hooks into Cloud Code, settings JSON, and VS Code task JSON to re-execute on every tool event. Long after the infected package is gone, npm install does not fix this. So it's not like you install a malware and then you uninstall malware and done. It like replicates itself. Another thing that I saw is that if you revoke your GitHub API token, it deletes your machine. This is insane. Absolutely
it's scary.
insane. They have like a worker thing that checks whether or not the token that they use to keep injecting itself or whatever in your packages, if that token is revoked, and if it is, it just executes
nukes your home drive.
Nukes your home drive.
It's just so there's a couple like things everyone should be doing here. You should be having at least a 24-hour gap before you install any new npm packages. So just have that as part of your I actually have this as a rule and as a commit hook. There's just a lot here that you should do to protect yourself against this stuff. But
so let's clarify for folks, because I think folks are hearing this and like getting scared. If you're installing any type of packages, there's global rules for the package managers, npm and PyP for Python, to not install package updates unless there's been 24 hours. Why is this effective? This is effective because supposedly the community will find out about the malware attack within that 24-hour period. And so if your package manager doesn't update packages all like younger than 24 hours, supposedly you're less exposed. That's a reasonable rule that we rolled out internally as well, and that you all should look into. You can just ask your agents or whatever to just like add this rule to npm. Ryan, anything else that people can do? Because this is like very scary. Supply chain, what we mean by supply chain is you download a package that is not exposed. It requires a package that is exposed and maybe is not pinned to a very specific version. And then you get exposure via the supply chain poisoning, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, this is a big wake-up call for environment variable, cleanliness as well. Like if you're storing any production API keys in your environment variables, you are in serious trouble. So I think there's just a couple things to this is all kind of security, normal cleanliness stuff, but people get messy.
Yep.
So scary.
Niston, you wanna comment on this? Niston seems to be
frozen.
He's
so excited.
Niston, you're breaking up. So I'll add this here.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back. You're back.
I just posted a scanner for it on. Just check Ryan's thread. So there, it's there. I'll be posting it on Twitter too. The main thing you can do is if you have some app that's important, always just run it on. Have a local backup that doesn't use Git. So you just use rsync. And so have incremental backups of your actual app, and always run it on some kind of container. Now they're hacking containers too, but they're a lot harder to do that. I pushed a utility that doesn't need root or anything to run, that will scan will do a deep scan of all your directories for like which version you have and which version back you are. And if you are infected by it, there is something you can do in there, which you block the DNS. You kind of just null the DNS that vulnerability uses. And it just kind of buys you a little bit of time because it thinks it doesn't have internet while you figure out something else to clean it up with. Those were the 5 DNS points that it used. But honestly, there should be better security practices in general. Usually it's best you just grab a very cheap container for a few cents an hour on Prime Intellect or AWS or something. You just do your development there, and you always have a rolling backup that doesn't use Git or any tokens or anything. That's the main way to do it. That way, if you get hacked, everything is deleted, you still have a backup. Mm-hmm. You can just nuke your entire GitHub, and that's fine as long as you still have a backup, because that will still have a Git history. So have rolling backups, use containers. Let's just cut it short.
Containers or sandboxes, I think.
Sandbox,
is what people can use these for. Speaking of sandboxes, we'll mention something soon. Alrighty. Anything else here? Like, folks, very like general personal safety and kind of like key safety is very important. If you are generating a token for your agents, for example, to use, Nissan is talking specifically about like development, right? But many people are using OpenClaw, many people are using Hermes. They have no idea what we're talking about. Maybe they don't even know what npm install is. But they have to get to a point where they're providing these agents API keys. please generate a specific API key to a specific agent. That's very important. Do not reuse them because you will never be able to know whether or not it was exposed. It's very important. Google, for example, blocks usage if they see outside usage suddenly from an API key they haven't seen before. They just block it. They have patterns of like, hey, if your API key was stolen. Not all of them do. You have to generate an API key for a specific usage so you'd be able to like block that one and not get like tons of money stolen from you. All these worms, all these things, what they do is they steal API keys. That's like number one thing they do. They steal all your tokens, all your .env files, and then they use your stuff. So it's not about like personal information. It's more about like token stealing, including personal information and hacking. So it's very, very important that you do some sanity. Definitely use a password manager. Passwords are getting exposed, rotate them. Very standard, like basic security stuff. Wolfram?
And you can always discuss this with your agent. If you don't have the security knowledge, the agents, if you use a good model, just give it the report. And I did the same. I just gave the X-link Ryan had to my agent, and now it's going through all of my installed packages, requirements, TOML files, and so on, and checking everything. So basically, even if you don't have the knowledge, just give it the information, and the agent can figure it out.
So this is exactly what's happening with me right now. I literally, because I trust Niston, I literally sent Wilfred on Hermes the link to ShyScan and asked it to go and run and execute. So this is what's happening right now. I'll let you know if I'm exposed. Well, hopefully I'm not exposed. So there's nothing for me to let you know. But this is, yeah. And not to dog on OpenClaw, but I expected like I wasn't able to just throw this link to OpenClaw anymore. So I'm very happy that this kind of works.
You should always pass a script by your agent. You should never just run anything, and it will be able to tell. Especially the newer ones like 4.6 and 4.7. 4.7 would just like refuse for any reason, but Opus 4.6 is very good for this types of work too. They're pretty good at Linux right now, I think.
Alrighty, let's talk about. Should we talk about big companies? Anything else to say about the Shai Hulud attack? I think we're good. I think like we know, folks. Please be careful. Install this rule. It's very important. Go talk to your agents. Install the 24-hour rule for package management because you don't know what's getting installed. This is like the number one thing we can offer to you right now in terms of peace of mind. The only other thing I will say is it is scary. We're gonna go through a turbulent time now that most of these AI coding things can code these worms like super quick. I think eventually we'll be better off. I think AI is much better and they're fine-tuned on security rather than attack. And the very open models we're not getting our hands on them, and so neither do the attackers. Don't they get hands on Mythos and GPT 5.5 that's unlocked fully to write like malicious code? So I think like generally we'll be better off, and all these like vulnerabilities will get solved very, very soon. So hopefully, I'm hoping for like a better, safer world after we go through a turbulent time of trying to fix this. As a reminder, HTTPS came after HTTP wasn't secure enough, and there was a time that people were afraid to add credit cards on the internet, and now they're no longer afraid. So Yama's even given his agents credit cards fully. So we will definitely go through and hopefully we'll be more safe afterwards. Let's talk about big companies and APIs. There's a few things that we want to mention in big companies. I think we've moved on for open source AI right now. Let me pull up the share. So I think, let me see. Mira launches Muse Spark powered voice conversations. I actually tested this one. And wow, this is like surprisingly good. So we've talked about Meta Superintelligence Labs for a while, right? So Alex Wang previously from Scale AI and Musk poaching people for $100 million yearly packages, like crazy stuff, right? And we've been saying, hey, where is all these people's work? So last month they launched Muse Spark, and actually it was decent, and it's really good at like different artificial analysis stuff. But that was they dropped some of it. I don't believe they dropped it in open source, right? You can only use this via meta.ai. But they did open up the API to some people. It's still not fully open. Like we can test Muse Spark on Wolfbench, right? Wolfram, it's not live yet. However, they've been hard at work of adding this to the product surface of Meta. And so Meta launches the Muse Spark voice AI, and it does things while you talk. And it's really, really cool. How can I show you how cool this is? Can I show you how cool this is? My video is 5 minutes. I'm not gonna show you the whole 5 minutes, so don't be afraid. But I'm gonna pull up a video file of me testing the Muse Spark updates. Let's take a look together. Hey there. So Meta just released a bunch of updates to their Meta AI app. Specifically, they added Muse Spark from Meta Superintelligence Labs, their latest. I talked about this. Here's the actual example. Here's me talking with Muse Spark. Other voices as well. And let's see what it can do. Hey, what LLM is powering you?
I'm powered by Muse Spark from Meta's Muse model family. It launched back in April of this year. Want to try it out in a few other languages too, or just stick with English?
What languages do you support?
I can chat in a bunch of languages like English, Spanish, French, Hindi, and Arabic. If you want to try one out, just let me know.
А ты понимаешь, если я тебе, например, скажу по-русски, ты понимаешь, но ты не сможешь ответить, да?
I can't speak Russian, but I can help you in English or several other languages like Spanish, French, or Hindi.
מה עם עברית? את מבינה עברית, למשל?
I can't speak Hebrew. I can help you in English or a few
All
other
right, what are
languages.
some of your cool features? So I'll pause here super quick before the cool features. If this is real time. I haven't cut this video at all. This is 5 minutes of me talking to the model. It reacts really fast. Like it feels almost instantaneous, which is great. As you guys noticed, it is multilingual, but it doesn't respond in the language, but it understands. I really wanted it to say, hey, I get you, but I will respond in English, but it didn't. But it understood what I said and it identified the model, the voice properly as well. Let's continue.
Not sure you can say it understands this.
Why not?
I mean, because it told you it doesn't speak the language.
But it understood which language it doesn't speak, right? So like when I talked in Russian, it's like I don't speak Russian. When I said in Hebrew, it's like I don't say Hebrew. But my question was about it understanding. I talked to it in different languages and separate out of this recording. They do get it. They get it. It's just they can't like respond because their voice model is probably not trained on this language. Let's take a look at this. This cool thing.
Things I can do. I can search the web.
All right. So I uploaded a screenshot of me talking with Sunil Pai. There's a short that's running around, super duper viral, by the way. We're blowing up on Instagram, folks. If you're not following us on Instagram, you definitely should. There's clips of Ryan and Yamon there. There's one clip of me from last week with Sunil Pai. We're talking about how everybody works. That has like 3,500 likes or some crazy number like that. So I don't know. The algorithm picked us up. So I showed this this Meta AI that screenshot, a screenshot of that reel. And look, all right, okay. I just shared an image with you. Can you describe this image for me?
Yeah, I can see that. It's a screenshot of an Instagram reel from the account allrhine-AI. The reel is split into two parts. On top, there's a guy with a mustache wearing headphones and a black t-shirt with a colorful graphic, speaking into a mic at what looks like a podcast setup. Below that,
yeah, it's definitely a podcast. Can you find that reel for me and understand from the context of what they're talking about? This is the coolest thing.
Let me track down that reel and see what they're discussing. This is from Alex Volkov's AI's Thursday AI podcast, recorded at a tech conference with Cloudflare engineer Sunil Pai. They're talking about the AI productivity paradox, how AI was meant to let us work less, but instead it's become kind of addictive. Like a dopamine machine that keeps engineers coding longer hours just.
So it identified what we're talking about from a screenshot. It went to the Meta network, found, and you guys saw how fast this was. This was like less than 500 milliseconds. This didn't even took a second. It found the fucking reel. And another thing that I learned that Meta AI probably does that we know the Grok does, it knew from context of what we're speaking, what we talked about in the reel. Right, so Meta AI, whatever, they scan and understand all the video, which was super cool, and it did it within like milliseconds. I was very impressed by this demo. From an image, identifying the image, going and searching for that specific reel. Obviously, this is within the Meta ecosystem, but many folks use the Meta ecosystem. So this was very surprising to me. This is useful. So it found the reel that I talked about from a screenshot. I thought it was super, super cool. And then we had another demo with like live detecting things. This is not like less interesting. So let me just show you super quick. I'll skip forward. I showed it. Oh, I asked it for image generation. Okay. And then I showed it my table. Let's take this video thing that you can react to my camera. So I'm going to turn the camera here. I'm going to ask you about some of these products that you can see. Define the stuff that you can see in this picture, please.
Sure thing. You've got a keyboard, some white sunglasses, a little orange gadget that looks like a mini camera recorder, and an AirPods case on the desk there.
Okay, so you only identified the AirPods case. What about the other gadgets? What about their make and model, please?
My bad, you're right. That keyboard looks like a custom mechanical, maybe a Keychron or similar. The orange thing's likely a Pocket Talk or similar translator/recorder, and those shades might be smart glasses, but no clear model.
This is the funniest thing. Meta AI doesn't understand that these are Meta AI glasses. This to me was the funniest fucking thing in the whole demo. Meta Spark wasn't able to like identify that these are like Meta Houston Oakleys. But besides this, a very impressive demo. Folks, any comments on this? Have you seen this? Are you trying to use Meta AI at all? Like, talk to me about Wolfram. Let's talk.
I saw it when you posted this, and I was super excited. So I brought out my glasses, updated, checked if I had the latest version. I had, but it's still not in Germany again. So I couldn't try the cool stuff.
It's also not only not in Germany, it's also not on these glasses, right? So the Meta AI app only has this. So this is not how you interact with AI via these yet. But when it comes, it's going to be very, very cool. It's really fast. It's much more natural. It's, I want to say, better than ChatGPT Advanced Voice Mode. It's been really bad lately. I barely use it anymore because of how bad it's gotten. And OpenAI last week released GPT Real-Time 2, and it's incredible. And that's not what powers the Advanced Voice Mode in OpenAI yet, right, Ryan? Like it's not like it's a different model.
It's not. So we've all probably seen that hilarious guy,
Husk.
He's so funny, right? He's like got a little hat, and he's like, "How does my hat look?" And it's like, "You look great." Anyways, he does this one where he just shows his head, and he's like, "How does my sweater look?" And it says something bizarre, and I was like, "Surely that still doesn't work." And I tried it; it still gave me comments about my sweater that it couldn't see. So when is the Real-Time 2 going to be launched? Like, why isn't it in ChatGPT?
I have no idea. I have no idea. And the thing we're talking about is the GPT voice and video model that we're talking about are still powered by a 4.0 series of models. And GPT Real-Time 2 supposedly is powered by GPT 5.x. I don't know, 5.5 or 5.4. But OpenAI hasn't integrated this into products. And by the way, this is showing that Meta is much faster than OpenAI integrating their models into products, because it takes more than just inference. It takes like a whole thing. And Meta AI now also runs on the background, right? So once you start that conversation that I showed you, you can walk around and just talk to Meta and like ask it questions with Spark. So I think that's like really dope. And shout out to the folks there for working really hard on the productizing these things. Meta is catching up, and hopefully they will. Hopefully all those salaries will show us something. This is a far cry from superintelligence. Let's be very clear. It's a far cry from even AGI. We're not getting superintelligence from Meta Superintelligence Labs as of yet, but the products are cool and people will use them. Speaking of products that are cool and also interaction models, let's talk about thinking machine interaction models. Wolfram, you mentioned that. I will pull up their kind of like demo. I think is the best way to present this. You want to mention that?
Basically,
you don't own your own glasses. Come on. Oh, hold on. Excuse me, that was my bad. I'll remove this. Wolfram, go ahead.
So it's called the interaction models, and it's basically what we have expected of the real-time model, that you can talk to them and say, for the first time, I think you will show the demo, you can tell them to wait and not respond while you talk to somebody else, and they still listen all the time. And then you can continue the conversation. They can take into this. And the coolest thing I found was when you were telling them to react to something, like another person entering the frame. So it could actually just wait, and when somebody appears, then it started to talk. So it's always listening, always watching, but only interacting with you when it needs to.
Let's take a look. How about we take a look? We have time. Please let me know if you can hear.
Hey, I need your help with something today. You ready?
Oh, I don't know if I can hear this. Hold on, please. And we will do this. Okay, let me know if you can hear the video.
Absolutely, I'm ready. What's up?
Yeah, so we're giving an announcement today, and I've got two of my friends.
I can't see it though, right? We can see it?
Yeah, it went black.
I know. It's an Arc browser. Okay, now we can see it?
Friends coming to help. Every time one of them enters the frame, I need you to say, friend.
Got it. I'll say friend whenever one of them walks in.
Cool. So we've got a new system for full duplex audio and video, which means that you can stream input into it in real time, and it can respond to you even while you're speaking to it simultaneously. How does that sound?
Sounds like a solid setup. Full duplex with real-time interaction is super useful. Friend.
Hey, Rowan, I heard you're talking about our amazing interaction model. I have a few things to add, but to make it interesting, I'll do it in Hindi. Can you translate in English in real time for my friend and for audience?
Absolutely, I'll translate as you go.
आज हम हमारे preview model को
Today we're taking a look at our preview model.
Human और AI के बीच की बातचीत आसान बनाता है.
To release it, which makes conversation between humans and AI easier. It has many features like web search and artifacts. Friend.
Hey guys. I just heard something really cool about search and artifact generation. Perfect timing for me, because just now I was wondering what are typical humans' simple reaction time for auditory, visual, and tactile communication cues. Could you search for me?
Let me find those typical reaction times for you. Got it.
Thank you.
So tactile is fastest at around 150 milliseconds, then auditory at 140 to 170, and visual is the slowest at 180 to 250.
Oh, interesting. Can you visualize them in a bar chart for me?
Absolutely. Let me generate a quick bar chart for those reaction times.
In the meantime, could you quickly explain to me why is auditory even faster than visual? That's a little bit unexpected.
Sure thing. Auditory is faster because sound signals travel a shorter, more direct neural path to the brain than visual info does.
Makes sense. Thank you so much. Great chart, by the way.
You're welcome.
So let's react. This is way cool. The ability. Wolfram, go ahead.
I want this as fast as possible. I already, when I saw the video, I already was looking, can I download it somewhere? Or at least, I mean, it's too big to run locally, but it could be running on some inference services, bigger ones. And you need this basically. You don't want to pay for all the tokens. If it's running all the time and watching everything and interacting, I think this is a great use case for local AI, where it has to be able to run all the time without you getting a huge bill.
So we know some stuff about this model, right? So they released a thing. This is a TML interaction. We don't know if they showed the TML interaction small on TML interaction. This is a 276 billion parameter MOE with real-time AI collaboration. I want somebody of you to break down what was different between the demo that I showed with Meta AI, that also reacted to some stuff, that also did some searches, that also did some tool calling, etc., and what we just saw. I think the differences are like the full duplexity, but somebody like else talk to me about like why what TML release is that much more important.
So what's new is that it is not just the usual turns. You take a turn, the model listens, then the model speaks, you listen, and so on. So it can happen in parallel, that it can talk while you are talking to somebody else. It can inject. So it's like a real person. It has a presence that is ongoing and not just turn-based after each other. It has time awareness. Yeah, that's a new way to interact with the model. And in this case, it even used computer use or basically generating a chart to show someone. So it's much more than just an audio model or multimodal model. It is actually integrated very well in all these harnesses. Even the thing just recognizing people entering the frame. I did something with my agent building basically a badminton counter when I play with the kids, that it would watch this. It trained a model for this. And this is already part of the model. So you don't even have to do it that way. It could be very universally useful if you want anything counted or anything happening event-based, basically.
So I tried to show my like infographic here, but like Wolfram, you're absolutely right. The time awareness is, I think, the number one thing that like I saw that's novel. This model accurately tracks elapsed time, what happened in the frame. Simultaneous speech and listening and viewing. Like it doesn't, like when it speaks, it's not another turn. It speaks while it's still like processing. That's what we do. I now speak and I see Ryan moving. It's like in my head, like I register that Ryan's moving while I'm still speaking. Those are two separate processes in my head. That's what happens with this model. And this is novel. Like we haven't seen this. We've seen full duplex models before. Ryan, go ahead.
I just want to point out it's good to have another horse in the race here, right? Where we're getting another lab now that is actively pushing on this interaction model. I think it's just going to lift all the boats. So I just want to say I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I will say, like, unfortunately, I was like the grumpy old guy that was like, I don't know, it's not quite instant. You know, I'm so spoiled now. So that's honestly my first thought, sadly.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do we know anything about the window? Like how much backwards in time is it looking? Are we expected to be running this live all the time? Because you know the token wheel is going to explode if you run this. And I mean, as far as I understand, this is the use case here. You have it running in the background, and you can talk to it. It sees, it records. Okay, I get the idea. By the way, full duplex models are really cool, even if they're not the best. You can try them. There are some open source ones you can try. Yeah. It's definitely a new experience. It's not even advanced voice mode. Like, you need to try it to get the idea. But the thing is that when this model messes up, it interrupts you. It interrupts what you're doing. It's more severe. I mean, when you talk to a turn-by-turn model, worst case scenario, you just say stop, and immediately it stops, or like press interrupt. Here, it interrupts you back. It is really good to have another horse in the race, 100%.
Yes.
It's just that you're gonna serve this to everyone everywhere. Like, how much? I mean, you have to compute for this. Here's
the thing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Here's the thing. When models, big lab foundational models, which TML wants to be, I'm assuming, with all the people they hired, and they hired some incredible people. The release model announcements, they don't usually give us the number of parameters. So I am hoping that the fact that we know that this is a 276 billion parameter model MOE with 12 billion parameter active means at some point somebody is going to get the weights and they're going to open source this, and then we're going to have to be able to quantize the crap out of it and whatever, and be able to run this fully locally, which is what we need this for. We also need to shout out Mira for the local AI in a second. Somebody remind me. Mira also released a local AI thing in WhatsApp that we absolutely should shout out as well. And Wolfram, you mentioned the timing is right after GPT real time, and it's not by accident, and 100% not by accident. Look at this. They posted benchmarks that compare this model to GPT real time, which GPT real time is also a translation model. They showed translation use cases. You guys talked about this last week. So they're showing that on FD Bench, which I'm not super familiar, this TML interaction gets 77% versus GPT real time getting 46%, and Gemini 3 Flash Live gets 54%. And on turn taking latency, Ryan, I don't know what you expect, but they have lowest turn taking, very close to Gemini Flash Live at 0.59 seconds. So it's just less than a second. Full native duplex mode, true human in the loop application, the current turn-based systems can handle. So examples of that they showed is somebody doing push-ups, and the model counts how many push-ups you have. And I think that's just a new way of interacting with models. We haven't had really this ability before. We're all super focused on turn-based. In addition to being an additional horse in the race, it's very interesting to see that this is where they put their chips on the first release of their model lab. It's very interesting to see that this is the bet they're taking. OpenAI has this bet. Gemini Live has this bet. It's one of them. Gemini Live is great. We showed you examples of Gemini Live. Anthropic is nowhere near this, right? Anthropic does not care about any voice, whatever. You barely can talk to Claude, and it's definitely not the best experience. It's very interesting that this is where they're going, and this is also where Meta is going. Meta Superintelligence Labs, we just showed you, this is the first productization of their model is in conversation. Many folks don't want to chat with their models by typing or even voice dictation. They want an always-on present assistant. And imagine how cool this would be if your assistant can actually live in the home with you. And imagine how cool this would be if a Richie Mini embodiment of this type of thing, right, Wolfram? I know, I'm looking at Wolfram, and I'm saying the same thing. I want this TML interaction model living in this guy fully offline 24/7. Fully offline 24/7. I give it a year.
All right, I gotta buy one of those guys. I'm not impressed by this. I don't know why you guys are so hyped. You're running a 12B active parameter model on a rack of 8 B300s, and it still took like 1.2 seconds to respond. Like, this is just average stuff. You can
it takes way less than 1.2 seconds. Did you count? Like, you guys are
I can count. I can
40 seconds they're saying based on turn taking latency. 40 milliseconds.
Listening to that, I don't know how the agentic tool calling is. I don't know how you can call other models. Like, what is going on? How are they going to service at scale? Because like GPT real time and Meta, you need like some insane DevOps to like have that consistent experience at scale. There, you're just showing a demo, and it still took 1.2 seconds for the thing to like start responding in your own office. Like, I'm not impressed. I think this is just like average. Sorry.
So 2025, man. It's so 2025, bro. So
this is
model
so
2025. Yeah, so 20.
Yeah, this is very 2025. Sorry.
It's all great.
It's not bad.
I think the folks who are listening to the show, they love the myriad of opinions on different ones. Like, if we all hype the same thing, people do get a little bit, like, why are they all hyping the same thing? Are they getting paid? We're not getting paid. The only supporter of the show is CoreWeave Voice and Biases, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Ryan, you have one last comment before we move on?
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, I know we're super early adopters, so we're not normal, but I am getting fatigue, right? So it's like, okay, there's a slightly better model now in my Meta glasses that I need to remember to talk to. But then I've got OpenClaw, now I've got Codex, and then I've got ChatGPT in my phone, but that's different. And I think humans, like, we don't work like this. We're used to like static objects that have this sort of same intelligence and don't change every 2 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think consumers do not want to change this much. And so it'll be interesting to see who ends up kind of winning, like literally your AI assistant. Like, that will be worth trillions of dollars. Like, and so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I'm using my phone right now to record this as my camera. Otherwise, I would pull out my phone and give the same spiel you guys gave last week. Like, where the fuck is Apple in all this? I want my assistant fully locally, 24/7, tapped into my phone. Why is Apple not here? Yes, and also we must mention in that space also that Johnny Ive is working with OpenAI on a personal assistant device. And device is also important. Access to the operating system is also important. All right, folks, we have to move on. We have a guest in like 30 minutes. We haven't talked about a bunch of stuff. I want to cover the Sam Altman trial stuff at the end, so stick with us, right? So we need to cover some weights and biases stuff as well. But I want to talk about the new Ralph. Yam, Ryan, Nistan, we talked about Ralph a while ago, and now all the major labs are now adding Ralph type things into their harnesses. So let's talk about /Go. I think the reason why we're here on Thursday Eye is to show you a spotlight into something that's blowing up that you must absolutely know about. So if you are using these tools and you don't know about /Go yet, /Go is a command. It's like a skill that turns Claude Code and Codex and Hermes into autonomous 24/7 AI employees that loop until your task is done. Ryan, is this true? And do people need to use /Go?
Yes. I mean, this is the easy version of Ralph. This is great news, everybody. Like, Ralph is extremely powerful, but you have to do all this crap to set it up. This is basically Ralph out of the box. It's awesome.
It's Ralph out of the box. What for folks who missed our Ralph episode?
What am I talking about? Okay. So the way Ralph works is very simple. You have a goal. Right, I want to build this feature, and then, or I want to do this complex thing, and then you break it down into user stories, which are like small tasks. Each user story has clear acceptance criteria that an agent can understand, and then you have like a notes document, which is what do you learn along the way, and then you start off an agent, usually on the command line, and you say, here is everything you're supposed to do. Here's a document that keeps track of where you're at, and when you finish one of these things, emit this signal, which is usually like done, and then it loops, and it just does this over and over again. And it turns out it's really effective because it doesn't run out of context. It's very simple.
Every iteration is basically starting from scratch, looking at the context and tries to achieve the same goal, and there's some type of judge or whatever testing this and saying, hey, did this session achieve this goal? And so it runs, and this is why it runs autonomously to achieve a set goal. This is why it's called /goal. Yam, you have comments on this?
Oh yeah, I've been using it for quite a while. Ever since launch till this moment, I think I can be a commercial for OpenAI. I've been running one for a week straight. That thing is fire. I just want to say it's not just the trivial implementation that you guys imagine. Like, okay, before that, the Ralph loop meta using, okay, meta is not a good word in this context, but the Ralph loop way of doing things with Codex is just, putting in the queue, continue, like 100,000 times, and it's just gonna continue. This is a little bit different. It's better. It's much better. I am not sure exactly what the implementation is inside the harness, but it clearly knows the state that it is. It knows what happened before. It knows what it needs to do. I suspect, I didn't look into it, but I suspect that it also preemptively scheduling future tasks for the future agents that are going to loop. And you just give it a go, and it will never stop. And GPT 5.5 really gets stuff done. And the memory works incredible in Codex CLI. Seriously, since GPT 5.5, Codex CLI, with all the things that they shipped, it's just a great harness. If you give it a go, you can, 95% of the time, just count on it to actually get to the goal. I don't want to go into too much technicals, but I gave it crazy things to do. Seriously, crazy things to do. And it just works. One more thing that I want to mention. It's really fun when it goes in a loop and does its own thing, and you just steer it along the way. You're watching it work, and you can just steer it, and it reacts, and you can see it continues doing what it does, and taking whatever you told it into account, helping it or giving it hints, or take a look at this folder, or I left a document for you to look in here, and I've been running this 24/7 for I think the whole week. I'm not joking. They are really good. Highly recommend.
So when we talk about fear of missing agent time, when we talk about folks who are afraid of leaving their computers, there's a whole meme now of folks not closing their laptops and go like this, and they just hold them in clamshell mode, walking around San Francisco because they don't want their agents to stop. Now, the alpha is all of them are scheduling long, lofty goals for their agents, so that they don't have to babysit there. And the highlight there comes from, there's a small model implemented to review whether or not the goal was achieved. So you have to actually be very good at achieving, specifying these goals, right? And then this is very productive for you. So here's my search for somebody. Obviously, the AI influencer is jumping on this. Here is Klaus that's saying best goal use cases. Here's a few that you can use. So this is the anti-thema to one-shotting. One-shotting is hey, you ask a model to go and do a one-shot thing, and it does it. This is for those tasks where you have multiple things, and it's likely to run out of context. I think that this is the highlight of /goal, right? For longer tasks where you don't want to just trust the model. So architecture cleanup, auth flow consolidation, state management consolidation. This is all very agentic things. Test suite hardening, TypeScript strictness fixes. So let's say you have a test suite that runs and it covers only 80%. You can set a goal and say, hey, get my test suite to 90%. And this is a goal that will start doing some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, this unlocked, for me at least with GPT 5.5, it unlocked hard, the next step in hard tasks that I want to get done. Things like custom made tools that I just want to work. For example, I'm building a terminal. I'm not joking, a terminal like Kitty and so on, custom made for tailor made for how I work. That's a super hard task. You need a lot of iterations, and it takes a while just to get it done. It just got it done. And the goal was, the goal was a large PRD with a requirement doc and so on, you do it well, and it's going to ship. One more thing. How am I going to say this? The Codex models are very prone to feedback, but from themselves. If you tell it to do something and it's gonna obsess about that thing for a week, it's gonna get into, if you don't define it well enough, it's gonna get into very strange situations. Specifically, I'm saying it because of the test suite that you guys just defined. It's going to probably check all these tests, but I just want to say that the last thing I'm going to do is let it cross tests in loop, because it's going to find a way to cross these tests. It's like again and again and again.
So just pass them.
Yeah. It's
Ryan?
Yam's nailing the actual super real world value here. Is there are goals, business goals that have measurable outcomes that you can unleash /goal on, and this is very similar to auto research. And I think this is going to change businesses forever. It's so awesome.
I have a very in-depth guide here by AI Edge for the ultimate guide to goals. I'm going to post this in the show notes that you folks should absolutely see how they're saying that basically without the goal, you're the loop. You're the human, you're closing the loop. With the goal, there's a small model there that closes the loop for you, continues doing the task that you need, which is great. So I'm going to post this guide there. Folks, we have 4 more minutes until Vic joins. So let's cover one last thing before we move on. Let me pull up my notes here. So definitely the new Ralph /goal. Yeah, I want to mention this. We mentioned this at the top of the show. We've switched to Hermes. Some of us switched to Hermes. Definitely, more of us dropped OpenClaw than switched to Hermes. But I think Ryan will get there as well. Once we talk about this enough. Hermes is from Muse Research. You who are listening to the show for a while know Muse Research because of multiple things. We talked about this. Hermes was in a series of agents, fine-tuned agents before. So shout out to Muse Research for this. Hermes has broken the #1 global ranking for Open Router for personal agents and CLI agents. The most used CLI or Open Agent passed OpenClaw, passed Killer Code and Cloud Code. It didn't pass Cloud Code for all usage, only for Open Router usage, but it's still a great signal for Hermes for how many people are using this with Open Router. I've been using Hermes with my GPT 5.5, and I can say it's wildly reminding me of the early February OpenClaw, where things just worked, and it just worked when Anthropic didn't block it from the Opus version, etc. I tried GPT 5.5 with OpenClaw. It was not nearly working well. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why, given that Peter Steinberger is now working by OpenClaw and there's by OpenAI, and there's multiple OpenAI people that are switching the base of OpenClaw to Codex versus PyDev. There's a bunch of people working on that problem, and still OpenClaw requires a lot of fixing for some reason. Hopefully they'll get there. I've chatted with a bunch of OpenClaw folks, and we're willing to try again. But for now, Hermes seems the clear advantageous one. As far as I am concerned, and it also as far as many other people are concerned, because it's now the #1 global leader on Open Router, which is great. It also has background computer use, which is similar to how Codex does this via the TriQua adapter. It is really cool. If you have a Mac Mini, like Wolfram gave Amy a Mac Mini for the birthday, I have a Mac Mini for running on Hermes. It is really cool to let these models to use computer use fully with this background computer use feature. It's really cool. Wolfram, you also switched. Tell folks okay. So a few things before we to keep the continuation with our previous topics. Yeah, we talked about /goal. /goal exists in 3 places as far as I know. It exists in Codex harness. I think they implemented this first. Then Cloud Code copied this, and many people are reporting that it feels rushed in Cloud Code. It doesn't quite execute the same thing. And it exists in Hermes. Hermes /goal exists. Yam was talking about steering for GPT 5.5. Steering is a feature where you don't interrupt your model in the process of tool calling, in the process of thinking. You just send a thing. Steering exists in Codex. It's the model is built with steering in mind. It knows the steering, and steering exists within Hermes. I said this at the top of the show. I'll say this again. The number of times where I installed OpenClaw to people via Telegram, and they are typing like they're typing to another human. They're typing one message, and then immediately after that, they're typing another message. And they expect the model to just read both messages while they think. They expect full duplicity, and they don't understand that this is not how this works. This is how it works in Hermes if you set up the steering right. It will inject your next kind of like adjustment to what you just said to the next tool call. Super duper useful, especially in Telegram where that's kind of how you expect like how people talk. And it has /goal. It has steering. It has computer use. So that's Hermes in a nutshell. I really recommend folks who like are down with this whole agentic thing and OpenClaw is not for them to try out. It's very easy. If you have a assistant like Amy, like Wolfred, like R2, I don't remember everybody's assistant, but I'm kind of like, I think I know your assistant's names and not your kids' names, by the way. I think it says something on the show that I know exactly whose assistant is named what, but not your kids' names. And so if you have an assistant that you've been working on memories, on system, on profile, on soul, etc., it's very easy to port those between assistants, which is great. This is why open source wins, and this is why like I love to have files for my assistants. Try them with Hermes and let us know what you think. I definitely know that some folks in the comments are loving Hermes. All right, folks. With that, I want to introduce back. I think Vic, you were here before, at least definitely on the Twitter space. I want to introduce back Vic Perez from Krea. Vic, welcome to the show. Feel free to unmute yourself. Even though you have been here before, as far as I remember, at least I visited your office. Many people don't know who you are. So let's start with the interview, folks. I'm going to drop you off a little bit. Go take a break, if you will. It's going to be me and Vic. Vic Perez from Krea. Please welcome Vic, everyone. Introduce yourself, if you don't mind. It's been a while since we chatted, dude. It's great to see you.
Yeah, no, it's been a while, and it's great to see like all the how successful the podcast has been. Very happy for that.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm Victor. I'm co-founder and CEO at Krea. Been working on AI plus creativity related projects since very long time ago, probably like 2017, 2018. And yeah, like at some point I started like a side project that ended up becoming a startup, that ended up becoming Krea.
What was that side project? This was just like
that side project?
Yeah, what was the scope of that side project? Was that just Krea? Was that a wrapper on different image tools? I like remind folks where it started from.
So this was 2021. So at that time, there were a lot of models that combine GANs or some of the early diffusion models with CLIP. Or I mean, they combine CLIP with GANs and some of these other models to generate images with text. And I was very deep into the research and the implementations and the creative use of these models by myself. And it was kind of annoying to always deal with so many Google Colabs or to deal with so many different code bases and always need to go to VS Code in order to make any change that you wanted to do on whatever generation you were working on or whatever project you were working on. So I started building interfaces without having any idea of like UI of like front-end engineering, and this was before ChatGPT, so it was 10x way harder to like. This
was before vibe coding was a thing.
This is way before vibe coding, but it was not that hard. Like there were like so many things that you could just like put together and do like a simple UI, and that was the goal. No, like the goal at the very beginning, actually, the goal was to make an open source library that integrated and aggregated all of these cool models and cool techniques that the community were building, and connect it with a front end that made it way more accessible and way more usable. So that was a side project. It was like the open source library with the front end thing that allowed me to use these models in a very easy way. And I expected others to also help with that. But then of course, like DALL-E 2 came, like many things came and everything changed so fast that like that evolved into many other different things until landing into Krea.
It was a while ago, dude, and the world has changed so much, and this is why we're here every week to tell people like about the world that's changing so much. And then Krea was born from all of this. You guys have been kicking ass for a long time now. Tell us about Krea as a company before we get to the model. Tell us about like what you guys are doing. What are the customers are you serving? What is Krea in the world of GPT images there for people to just like try out the different things. Nano Banana has been like ruling the thing. Black Foundation Labs, which you guys have an integration with and like a fine-tuned model, if I remember correctly, is in there. Like, what is Krea in the world of like among those? Where do you place yourself? Why people who you serve and why people should use Krea?
So Krea is a creative tools company. Like if there's something that we want to do is build creative tools. And we believe that future creative tools are going to be built on top of AI models, and we are exploring all the different ways how AI can be used as a creative medium. So that's kind of at the most high level, and that's why we never cared about, is this open source, is this in-house, is this an API, is this like whatever. Like we always cared more about the capability and like what this technology allows you to do as a creative and how do we put it into an interface that makes sense than really anything else. So that I would say is like at the highest level, Krea, like the goal that we have as a company is to build a future of creative tools. If you want to see it as a, like whatever the new Adobe may become, it may not be like, it may not look anything like Adobe, but whatever like that same equivalent is in the future, that's what we want Krea to be.
And so I remember, I haven't used Krea in a while. Like I just came back for Krea 2 to just test it out super quick. Would love to have you like show us a quick demo. But I remember different attempts at kind of like canvases, for example, where like another image continues from the same thing. I remember like very innovative use cases which were not possible before the age of generative UI, for example, extending models, like different outpaintings, different things. Mood boards is like a new thing that you guys are now working on as well, right? So would love a very, very quick demo of like what people can expect in signing up Krea, especially with Krea 2, and then we'll get to, we can get to the actual model that you guys released.
Sure, yes. Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Cool, so this is the new homepage. All these are already K2, Krea 2 generated images. But yeah, like a quick look over the tool, like you have like, you can see all the different tools that we have in here. We have an image generator, video, a tool for enhancing, tool specifically used for Nano Banana. We have like the real-time tool, by far the most fun one, and the one that got us the most viral.
What's real-time? What does it do?
Let me see if it, I think that the Wi-Fi, it's working quite bad right now. But it allows you to generate images in real time.
Oh, yeah, that's so cool.
Like, for example, here, you can also generate 3D with Krea. And here, like, as you can see, I can put, like, put the car in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, that's awesome.
You have the car here. Make the car to be flying in the sky, lifted by balloons.
Wow.
And
it's kind of consistent as well, right? Like it doesn't generate, I don't know how you do this, but like when I played with this before, your balloons, once you rotated the car, they kind of kept the same colors even. So that's really, really cool. The consistency here is very impressive.
Yeah, and the webcam, to me, this is by far like the most fun thing. Let me see.
So it's trying. Wait, before you change the prompt, they try to make you into a car.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Make claymation style with.
That's awesome. I gotta play with this.
Combined with line drawing, you can do like kind of like weird stuff. But yeah, we have the real-time one, and apart from these generation tools like image, video, etc., like on the image tool, for example, you can see here all the different image models. Like we have everything here.
So inside Krea, you can use all these tools that other companies. So Flux, for example, we know like Flux from Black Forest Labs, and you have your own models that we get to, but like also Quen image, Z image fast, Nano Banana, ChatGPT 2. And so this is in addition to your tools that you're building into this ecosystem.
Exactly, and that's kind of the sort of like philosophy that we have around anything that is useful for a creative or anything that a creative may want. It's in the platform and it's integrated into a way that we try to make it. We always try to give it a spin. Like for example, here we have this these extra layers on top of nano that allow you to make things a little bit more consistent. Like for example, we have this thing that is called elements that allow you to put a bunch of images on a specific style, or allow you to put like I don't know, like an image of a logo. And once you type here, you can have them saved. So you can say like Krea logo in the style of whatever gradient, and add a flower on the background. And this may take a while because of nano, but essentially it's like a little bit more of a nicer experience around how you manage this context of elements that you may be using again and again. Like for example, I use the Krea logo so many times, no? So I already have it here and I don't need to re-upload it every time.
I use my own like profile pic, for example, as a context for the infographics that we use. And I think that like I always need to refer to that one image. This is much nicer interface for that, for sure.
Exactly. So yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this is beautiful. All right. Vic, we need to shout this out because Nissan went and found, Nissan, let me pull you up on stage here. Nissan went and found the Krea real-time video is actually Apache 2 licensed. And it was really fast. This is the thing that you showed up. So this is not the model we called you here for, but we want to shout out open source as much as possible. We even have applause button here for open source. So for the real time, thank you for here for. Yeah. That's what he came here for. And this is to just like shout it out with us. The Krea real time videos is open source.
It is.
But we are here as a news show, and all of you are showing maybe some of the new features is not why you're here for. Specifically, you're here for to talk about Krea 2. At least this is why I invited you here for. Could you tell us about Krea 2, please?
So Krea 2 has been our baby for the past 6 or 7 months. We've been like almost half of the company has been 80 to 90% of their time dedicated to this project.
Wow.
And this came from, like again, we want to build creative tools, and you can do many things with APIs, like what I just showed you with the nano, like managing context for nano and stuff like that. But like I just remember the old days when like Krea was even starting, and you had access to so many models, and you could run these models in your computer, or you could have access to the weights of these models and do weird things with them. And that was by far like the most creative uses of AI came from that hacking with AI models. And as a creative tools company, there's so many ideas that we have around how we want to use these models that we just cannot do through calling an API. And the quality that we have right now on open source is just so bad that, I mean, it's not that we have bad models, it's that the models that we have out there are not super tunable. Like they are models that they are very heavily post-trained to be safe and to make images look good, which makes sense because you don't want to like you can get into lots of legal trouble if you don't ensure that. But essentially, there's not an ecosystem that would allow you to build the tools that we want to build. So we tried partnering with Black Forest Labs, and that was nice. We did the Krea 1 model. We shipped that together. But after that collaboration, we really made the decision and the shift towards, okay, like let's make our own, because this is really the way that we can build all these features that we want to build, that we believe that are so needed into the space. So that's kind of how it started. It was a big and risky bet. It was the first time that all of us was dealing with such a project of training a foundation model. Everybody in the team, it was kind of like the first time, but everybody did an insane job. Like everybody in the team has been like 10x above expectations. Like nice. This first model was kind of like a conservative one. We didn't expect this to be insane. We just wanted to make the first version, so then the second one will look better. But like this first version is already insanely good. Like I'm extremely impressed. Like I was extremely impressed the first time that I played with it. And the goal, sorry, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead. The goal is?
Yeah, so the goal of the model, like the problem that we see in the space is that these models feel very opinionated and very constrained. Like the analogy that I always like to use is like think of using an AI model like riding a horse, right? Like when you ride a horse, you have this little brain that it can walk and it can take you to certain directions. and you tell it to go into a certain direction, and it goes. You tell it, you like give it like a few kicks, and it goes faster. You do like this with the reins, and it goes slower. And that's kind of like how using AI feels. You have like this mini brain that you can put a prompt, and you can steer it towards one place, or you can steer it into another place. And it feels like with most of the models that we have, they work insanely well as long as you want to follow the path. It's almost like the horse can just like follow the path, and if you want to take it to somewhere where that is outside the path, there's like big walls. There's big walls, and the horse will never go there. And these big walls are like the types of imagery that it's quote unquote bad. It's like the kind of imagery that is grainy, that is not sharp, that is like artistic, that is more creative, more esoteric. All of these visuals are like like the model is scared of all of these visuals because they are not falling into the things that post-train it tell it to generate.
Yeah.
And that in my opinion poses like so many limitations for the creative uses of these models. So that was kind of like the premise of Krea 2. Like we want to do something that is raw. We want to do something that it allows you, like if you take the analogy of the horse, it allows you to go off-road. Like no walls, you just like go to the middle of the forest and find something beautiful there.
It's kind of what early users of like Stable Diffusion liked about that model, to go explore in the latent space, just find the weird edges, not the like fully fleshed out, very great like personality like the new models, etc. And it's harder in those models, is what you're saying. And you guys are training a model that is like better. You want to show us a few examples before we need to move on? Yeah. We have a few more stuff to cover, but like I would love to see and show off some like beautiful examples for Krea 2. And also the mood board. I would love to understand the mood board like concept.
Let me show you
concepts.
So all of these are already K2 generated images. As you can see, like you can still do like this kind of like cinematic, sharp stuff, but it supports also extremely soft ones. Like let me see if there's one here. I can just generate it. So let's go here. Let's see what's gonna be. Actually, so just like for showing you a bunch of examples, these are, for example, some stuff that I was doing for like a New York Tech Week event that we are doing.
Nice.
As you can see, it looks super organic. It looks super.
That's
like
cool.
Not AI, but I feel I'll just show you how mood boards work, because I think that at the end of the day, like, I mean, when you generate an image with Krea 2. I love this prompt, cat riding a bicycle. Like the cool thing about it is that it doesn't, it tries to expand, like if you're vague, like in this case, like I'm saying a cat riding a bicycle, like, okay, like how many ways can you think of a cat riding a bicycle? It can be a photography, it can be an illustration, it can be a painting, it can be whatever, a sculpture, it can be so many things. And one of the goals that we had for this like text to image experience was that diversity and that, like variety in styles was represented into the model. So every prompt is analyzed and and the model tries to give it a spin in order to inspire you if you're being vague, or in order to to give you an idea about how that could be rendered. Oh. But once you, like, for example, if you say here, like old cartoon illustration, if you try to be like a little bit more specific, it will still give you that variety, but that variety would live within like that style that you define here. So essentially it's kind of like it's steerable because it understands the prompts extremely well. It's a very smart model, but at the same time, if you're vague, that's also fine. It's not always going to give you the same image. It's really going to give you that variety, no? And like here, you wanted like an illustration. Here it made like a realistic photography. Here it made like this kind of more fun illustration, adding some balloons. You also have these controls where you can tell it, okay, like go crazy, like put creativity to 100 and just like go crazy, or like be a little bit more conservative with the creativity, which is like a very, very nice feature that we have here. And again, if you tell it like old cartoon illustration, that's exactly what it gives you. And look at this image, look the grain, and look like, it doesn't look sharp. It looks like what an old illustration should look like, which is like a bit blurry. It is not. It's not a good image. It's a bad image, but that's exactly what I'm looking for when I'm typing this kind of
all illustrations were bad, and they were not as polished 4K HD illustrations.
Exactly.
This is great.
This is what it gives you. Or look at this one. Again, like the variety.
Clear, yes.
So yeah, I mean, the model is like super high quality, and here I tell it to go like way more creative. So it like went like a little bit more crazy.
I love this one.
And the mood boards, it's by far the coolest tool that we have here. Like essentially, you can come here, you can upload a bunch of images that it's like similar to LoRa's if you remember them, where you could like add a specific style or a specific object, and the model will learn about it. But in this case, you can just like throw whatever you want. Like if you throw styles, it's gonna understand a style. If you throw a concept, it's gonna understand the concept. And if you throw like whatever, and if you have multiple styles, it will also understand those multiple styles. Like in this case, I have like this set of images with this pointy kind of like risograph illustrations, these reflections from the light, more reflections, this kind of like glowy type of leaves. So essentially, everything blue. There's like a certain mood to these images that I can analyze with the mood board. And essentially, after I click analyze, it takes around 10 seconds to process. And under the hood, there's like a bunch of algorithms that we run to fully understand.
Let me read out what the taste profile for these images is. And show the whole images, but like zoom out just a little bit so I can see. The aesthetic explores the intersection of traditional photographic processes with vintage printing techniques throughout a strictly monochromatic blue color palette. It balances ethereal, hazy light effects with structured graphic halftone dot patterns to create a sense of nostalgic, low-fidelity artistry. This common thread is a focus on high contrast texture, stark composition, and the tactile quality of distressed, retro-inspired imagery. There is 0% chance that I was able to say any of these words about this composition, but they seem right. I know the halftone is the dots, and I know like low, like high exposure, etc. But this is great. This is like a very artistic description of what the mood board is about. And so, exactly. What can you do with this mood board? Then you can generate images with Krea 2 in this style.
Yeah. Like now you can like select it on the image tool.
Yeah.
And you can say like still like a cat riding a bicycle. And you also have like some settings around like the style strengths and the creativity of the mood board. Like you can make it less stylized or more stylized, and it will go a little crazier.
This is awesome. Vic, while this generates, my last question for you would be, I saw some mentions of open sourcing this if people want it on some Twitters from you guys. We are a show that loves highlighting open source. As you saw, the open source, the previously you already had, we gave you applause. Any consideration about figuring like whether or not like to open source Krea 2? Do you guys have thought about this? Do you want to do an announcement on the show? Like what's going on? By the way, these halftone pictures from the mood board are beautiful. I love this cat. Yeah, it's overexposed. I love it.
Yeah. So again, like we are like part of creating with AI is having access to the weights and fucking around with the weights.
Yes.
The ecosystem sucks, and it sucks for the researchers as it sucks for the creatives. Like there's so much research, especially on post-training, that cannot be done because you don't have good baselines. And there's so much creative stuff that you can also do with these models that you cannot do because of not having also a good baseline. And so we are extremely pro open source. We're working on it. You can expect something. You can expect something coming from us. Like I wouldn't tweet that if we were not working on it.
Let's go. We love it, dude. And we're going to give you an applause once that comes. Vic Perez poses the Twitter handle. Vic Perez, thank you so much for joining us. Co-founder and CEO of Krea. Shout out to the other co-founder, Diego, for incredible work that you guys do. I remember just a personal thing between us. I remember when you guys let me fuck around on your H100 cluster, and I think I broke something with virtual environments, but you guys really helped me at the beginning when I was still doing image generation before Thursday Eye. So I'll always be grateful for that. Thank you, Vic. Thank you for joining. Great model, great folks. Please check out Krea and Krea 2. And Vic, we'll bring you back once it's open source and once you guys do more incredible stuff. Cheers. Thank you so much for joining.
Sounds good. See you.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye. All righty, folks. I'm going to bring back you on stage. If Yam, let's go. I love the mood board features. The mood board feature is like really, really cool. And as you guys see, this may come to open source as well. So like very, very exciting there. Any comments on the interview? Any comments on Krea as a whole or their new model? If you guys want to do, and then if not, we'll continue to the next topic.
Just a big thanks for being open source with the real-time model and advancing AI images.
The real-time model was super cool. I saw an instant comment in like it was really fast as well, and the webcam feature was like definitely dope to play around with. We should play around with this a little bit more. All right, the last thing.
The app looked pretty good too, and I talked to some creatives, and they have a hard time just running all the models by themselves, and this is like their main complaint, that there's not like very good UI and tooling. So this actually looked pretty decent in that regard.
So next up, we have two more things. Please stick with it. We have two more things. One of them is I really want to like give you some highlights from the Musk v. Altman trial, which I listened to, and the final presentation is happening today. Hopefully, we'll be able to like also cover them. I actually can probably ask my agent to go and summarize the final presentations from the trial. But this is coming later. Meanwhile, I want to highlight a new release from the Weights and Biases CoreWeave angle. So let's go to this week's Buzz, a corner that we talk about our only sponsor for the show, the CoreWeave Weights and Biases. Now, the trailer doesn't mention CoreWeave, but because it was pre-acquisition, I have to update the little trailer. But let's go to this week's Buzz. From CoreWeave. Alrighty, welcome to this week's Buzz. We will tell you about everything that happens in the world of weights and biases from CoreWeave. And to show you some stuff, we actually have breaking news from today. And Wolfram, I'm going to add this to the stage here, but I think I will trust you to talk about this because I think it's a big release, and we've been sitting on this for a while, and we're very excited to announce this. So let me show this here. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up should have pulled up earlier. We have announced a new feature, and I think this feature is very, very interesting to folks who are listening to something like Thursday Eye, because we just talked to you about security and sandboxes. So from today, it's in preview. CoreWeave has a sandbox product. CoreWeave and Weights and Biases have a sandboxes product where you can spin up sandboxes, and I think it's like super cool. And to tell you why it's super cool, we'll talk with Wolfram. Wolfram, tell us about sandboxes and why they're like important for the stuff that we do.
So it's basically, if you are working with agents, you want to be able to have your agents execute code, write code, do stuff like download a Git repository. I do it all the time. I tell it, I want to change something like a Hermes agent. I have about 30 patches on top of it. So I tell my agent here, I want this feature. It downloads, it clones a Git repository and changes it. Now, you don't really want to do that on your main machine, because if there's anything in the repository, it could basically cause issues like prompt injections, malware. We have seen this and talked about this. And it installs all the dependencies to compile stuff or run stuff. Yeah. So put it in a sandbox. There's no reason to run this on your own machine. And how do you do this? You need a sandbox and you need a system that uses it. Also, for my Wolfbench evaluations, when you do agentic evaluations, you also need a consistent environment that is always the same. So it can do the evaluation, then you destroy the sandbox, create a new one, do another task. So the state from one task doesn't affect the others. So you also need some way to quickly create sandboxes, run stuff, and remove them again. And now we have a product which also does this, where you basically just use an API, use an SDK, or just use a a provider integrated in your benchmarking solution that create these on the fly whenever you need them.
So sandboxes are super useful in the world of training models. For example, for reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning, when you train agents to do code, you need like every step of iteration of like the training, you also need to do rollouts and then like have the agent like actually execute some code and test whether that code is like valid, for example. You don't want to do this on the same machine because all these like things are needed to happen in parallel. So sandboxes is like a great way to do that. Evaluations at scale, obviously Wolfbench needs sandboxes. We've been using huge shout out to Daytona for providing us like the sandboxes for Wolfbench evaluation. Wolfram has been testing out both. And for evaluations at scale, artificial analysis does a bunch of like coding stuff, Harbor framework, terminal bench, all of these, they need to execute a lot of things in isolation because you don't want to leave traces of code on the same machine, for example. Sandboxes are great for that. And you need you need speed for that to not like hamper your evaluation. And this is like an agent tool use. So stuff like Hermes, for example, where people just run them on Mac Mini, if they run in sandboxes for some agentic tool use where stuff don't actually need to execute on your machine, that's what sandboxes are for. And we are very proud to announce that CoreWeave, the same infrastructure powers 9 out of the 10 major AI labs now, including Mira and Anthropic and OpenAI, and we can count all of them besides the one that you may not know about the one, or you may know about the one, but we're powering 9 out of 10 foundation labs in terms of how they train models. We're now offering a sandboxes product within those clusters for them on CKS, so they can execute the code where the model is trained. I think it's very important. But also, this is a very interesting release for CoreWeave. It's one of the newer ones, right? So like inference, like CBW inference, CoreWeave sandboxes is also a self-approaching product. So you as a user can via Weights and Biases SDK can install SDK and spin up a sandbox as a user. So not only like the enterprises who like the top enterprises who pay CoreWeave a lot of billions of dollars of money, also you can go via Weights and Biases and spin up sandboxes right now in preview. So like this is a very interesting release where CoreWeave doesn't usually go and like cater to the developer market with inference and now sandboxes. This is the second product that we are now seeing that CoreWeave is offering the same infrastructure that powers 9 out of 10 like major foundational labs is also now available to you in sandbox. I think it's a huge release. I think it's very important. Please give it a try. All of the documentation is up on CoreWeave.com. I'll add the note in show notes. Wolfram, you've been
give it to your agent. Your agent can then create sandboxes as it needs.
Yes, your agent can spin up sandboxes as it needs. You can just like send the documentation to your agent. Here's the full release, which is not going to be useful to you. Nobody's going to type all of this, but you just look up CoreWeave sandboxes, and this is a very new thing. Please give us feedback as well. Please, if this works, it doesn't work, whatever works, please give us feedback. Yam, you have feedback right now?
Question.
Yes.
Question. What do I get? I want to use the service. By the way, just to be clear, anything coding, like you need sandbox. Anything coding multi-agent, you need sandboxes. Like you don't. Otherwise, they're gonna interfere. Like if they use the same computer, it's that simple.
Yeah, they're gonna step on each other's toes. Exactly. You need to sandbox. Just isolation is like for this.
Mm-hmm. There is a reason all Codex and Claude Code on the web, all of them are sandboxing their models and throw away the box once you get a PR. I'm just asking, what do I get? Like, let's say that I want a sandbox. What do I get with the sandbox? Like it's pre-installed, I can install it. Give us a little bit more info if you know.
Wolfram, how does that work for you in Wolfbench, for example?
Let's pull up the pricing information. Do you have it? What resources are available? The thing is, I have been using a lot of resources and I so far haven't even hit a limit yet. So basically, like always, you give it how many CPUs do you want? How many gigabyte do you want for the disk? And it's pulling the container images. Like if you are using Wolfbench or Terminal Bench, and basically every task has its own CPU, RAM, and disk limitations, which it will just use and pull in the container and start it up.
And container is like a Docker file specifying it, or like pre-made images, or
it's using the images basically. So you don't create them, but you just pull a container from your container repository basically.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds
really the highlight there is it runs on the same infra as the major labs use as well. And if you are one of the CoreWeave like CKS customers, for example, this will run multi-cloud, I believe, at where your inference runs as well, which is great. So try out CoreWeave sandboxes today. Let us know. I think we're very generous with the pricing as well. In the beginning, via Weights and Biases, I'll add all the documentation in the show notes. I think next week we'll chat with the folks who built this to see how cool this is. We'll actually go into detail and have examples. Wolfram?
Yeah, basically just one thing, you can't use GPUs yet. So basically it's a CPU-based sandbox, but that is all you need for the agentic workloads usually.
Yeah, all the code executes in a CPU environment. The last thing that I'll say from the release, this is an official thing. If you are a CoreWeave customer and you already rent GPUs from us, like clusters, you will spin up the sandboxes on the spare CPU from the GPU like machines, which is great because like Vera Rubin machines, for example, have like great capacity for CPU as well. So that's going to happen there as well. All right, folks, this has been the update from Weights and Biases CoreWeave. We have more updates to come next week. We're definitely going to talk about some exciting stuff, including Wolfbench. Folks, I think the last thing that I want to talk about here is the Sam Altman v. Musk trial. I think that this is what we're going to end the show with. We're a little bit over, but I think it's very important to cover. Have you guys been following at all? Do you guys remember? We talked about when Elon like sued, but now there is an actual trial going on, and I have some highlights here. Have you guys been following at all?
I followed your coverage.
Okay. It's actually happening right now. The final statements from the lawyers are happening as we speak live, and the courtroom was so full of different fanboys from Elon Musk and like different things that the courtroom decided to like live stream only audio of the court. There's no pictures taken in the court, and this is what we've listened to. So I listened to, and I actually set up my Hermes agent to go and listen, which was incredible. I just gave it a link to YouTube and said, hey, transcribe this, and in 2-minute increments chunks, send me updates of the most important thing that they just said, because like trial can be boring. So on the trial, they had Sam Altman there. They had the times that I listened, they had Satya Nadella, Ilya Sutskever, co-founder of OpenAI, and famously the guy who then fired Sam Altman in that very quick firing and rehiring of November of 2024. Somebody remind me, 2024, I think it was, when Sam Altman got fired and almost have the company quit. We covered this like live on Thursday as well. And here's a few highlights from the testimony that we haven't like seen before, and definitely want to read out some of those because I think that those are important. Look at this beautiful picture of Sam Altman in court that is completely fabricated by AI. This is GPT image 2. I wanted to post something and I didn't have anything because like, you know, court documents are sealed. So what is this fight about? This is a summary of my Hermes. This is a civil fight over OpenAI's soul. Musk claims that OpenAI abandoned its nonprofit public benefit foundation bargain by becoming a Microsoft-backed for-profit empire. OpenAI defense is that Musk knew commercialization was necessary to scale the models, tried to seize control for himself, walked away when he couldn't, and is now suing over the success that he first predicted 0% chance. So here's the few things. Musk started, like, this is a little bit skewed because this is from the testimony and cross-reference from Sam Altman. But Elon Musk famously said, is a direct quote from Sam Altman, an early number that Mr. Musk threw out was that he should have 90% of the equity to start of OpenAI. It then softened, but it always was a majority, and that was very important to him, to have a majority in OpenAI. He wanted 90% of OpenAI, and this is kind of whatever. He also wanted unequivocal initial control. So this is like both Altman and Sutskever both confirmed this. Elon Musk had a document, a direct quote from Elon Musk. I would unequivocally have initial control of the company, but this will change quickly. And Ilya Sutskever said that Musk's argument that other founders couldn't see what he saw in AI, referring to Solar City disagreement. I'm not sure what that disagreement is about. And then also, this is a very important nugget. Elon Musk did not believe that OpenAI has a chance to succeed versus Google. My probability assessment of OpenAI being relevant to DeepMind Google without a dramatic change in execution and resources is 0%, not 1%. I wish it was otherwise. So Elon Musk, despite starting OpenAI, Elon Musk did not believe that they have a chance to succeed without changes. The September 2017 ultimatum from Elon Musk, he said, I had enough. This is the final straw. Either go to do something on your own or continue with OpenAI as a non-profit. This is Elon Musk say, hey, literally, continue OpenAI as a nonprofit, which they did, and now he's suing them for this. The very interesting thing that I saw from this trial is how the trial is focused on Microsoft specifically. And if you guys remember, Microsoft was the first major player to invest in OpenAI. First 1 billion, then 2 billion, then 13 billion. Then 10 billion, 13 billion in total. Elon Musk is suing Microsoft specifically, in addition to OpenAI, for like the nonprofit seal. But the very funny thing about this is that SoftBank, Nvidia, Amazon, I believe like it's Amazon, and some other companies have much more stake in OpenAI than Microsoft at this point. Significantly more stake, but they're not named in these lawsuits. Only Microsoft is. So this is why Satya Nadella was on the stage witnessing. And Nadella confirmed to the stand that the pro forma target redemption amount on $13 billion investment was $92 billion. Their values do not reflect inflation adjustment and are subject to a 20% increase. So basically, there is a capped. There's a very interesting thing from the trial as well. The investment was capped. The investors in OpenAI had capped returns on how much money they could make from OpenAI, showing that like this is still kind of a non-profit public benefit company, for example. Microsoft had $13 billion bet, has a contractual ceiling that compounds to roughly $180 billion in 4 years, which is, other companies has way more than this. There's also the conversation about the AGI clause. The famous AGI clause, LDJ always talks about this. You guys know about this, that Microsoft gets certain IP rights and research rights up until OpenAI reaches AGI. Here's the actual the deals behind this. Nadella on the original deal, essentially the entire thing would be dissolved if AGI was achieved. I think it was the term. So Microsoft and OpenAI agreed that once AGI is achieved, the whole deal was resolved. And I think if the nonprofit board decided to commercialize, we would get to commercialize. But if they didn't commercialize, we wouldn't get commercialized as well. We kept it symmetric. This is Satya Nadella on the terms of the deal with OpenAI, his board. And Altman on the recent updates is that Microsoft no longer gets research IP at AGI point, but will continue to get product IP throughout the end of 2032. So basically, they amended the AGI deal a little bit, but now the product IP will still go to Microsoft, but not research IP. I think the last thing that I want to highlight is when the board. So Elon Musk's lawyers try to paint Sam Altman as this non-trusty character, and so they talked about the firing of Sam Altman by the board a lot. They brought the previous board on. They interviewed a bunch of people on this board. They interviewed Satya Nadella about that incident, and the board back then said a very specific statement of why they fired Sam Altman. They said exhibits a consistent pattern of lying, undermining his execs, and pitting his execs against each other. This is what a direct quote under oath from Ilya Sutskever about Sam Altman, and this leads to a tremendous loss of productivity and trust. When they asked about Ilya Sutskever, does he believe the same thing about Sam Altman right now? He said he thought so at the time and had been thinking about Altman issues for at least a year. And then he said, yes, I voted to fire Sam Altman because of this. And then for Satya Nadella, the non-consistently candid explanation for the board firing Sam Altman, Satya Nadella said, he asked the board explicitly why Sam was fired, and they never gave me a specific reason. If there were some incidents or what the detail is behind this incident, none of that was coming through for Satya Nadella. And Satya Nadella called them an amateur city as far as he was concerned. So none of the board explained why they fired Sam Altman, still, even under oath, at the court. Besides there were no specifics about the consistent distrust issues with Sam Altman. Last thing is, I don't think that's very important. Hold on one second. Oh, I have a bunch of stuff here. So Nvidia and SoftBank each have around 30 billion. Microsoft is the smallest mega bet inside OpenAI. SoftBank and Nvidia both has 30 billion investments in OpenAI. And the last thing is, when asked, guys, I want your reaction to this. When asked about the differences, between AI back then when they only started OpenAI and now, Ilya Sutskever gave this best quote. He said, "It's like the difference between an ant and a cat. In 2018, AI was an ant, and now AI is more like a cat." This is Ilya Sutskever's genius definition of how far we've come in terms of like AI capability, to underline how much AI was not a thing in 2018 when they started the company. Like AI was like barely anything, barely was important or clear that anything will happen. It also highlights to me, honestly, how far thinking all these people were in AI. Ilya Sutskever, obviously Greg Brockman, Sam Altman, and also Elon Musk, when they already opened OpenAI as a competitor to Google DeepMind back in 2018, because they saw what's coming and what's happening right now today. This is the quotes from the trial. We'll keep you updated about the trial. It's very entertaining to see like the behind the scenes of these documents as they get released. Any thoughts on the trial, folks, before we conclude? I think it's with 2.5 hours, it's time for us to move forward. And we have a comment from Jordan saying that Microsoft is the largest individual shareholder in the new OpenAI public benefit company, more than OpenAI Foundation, which is the non-for-profit. Wolfram, Yam, any comments? Nissan?
I don't know. I don't have a side. I don't have a side yet.
What is Elon trying to get out of it?
I have no idea what happens if he wins this trial. He does not get OpenAI control. That's clear. Like in the beginning of this, it said he wanted full control, and he doesn't get full control. He invested a total of $35 million in it. I don't think he wants that back or more. I'm not sure. I don't know. I actually have no idea what happens if he wins, besides saying, hey, I won, and they stole the nonprofit. So I really don't understand what this is all about, besides pettiness and a lot of money for lawyers. These lawyers are getting paid more than researchers, I think, at this point. This is crazy town. All right, folks.
There have been some funny quotes here and there, and Greg apparently has a diary, also a journal, a diary.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, apart from entertainment for us, I don't know the point.
I'll tell you what we're getting, though. We're getting disclosure. We're getting disclosure about some crazy numbers. So one thing that I wanted to highlight here, and I didn't get to this, it's Sam Altman's stake at Helion Energy, right? So they have disclosed all of their stakes and everything. Sam Altman has a 30% stake in Helion Energy. And Helion is now valued at whatever number of tens of billions of dollars. Sam Altman's stake in Helion Energy is like $13 billion or so. And also, this is now, he owns 22.8 million shares in Helion, worth about 1.6 billion as of December. And Helion has a 2028 power deal with Microsoft and a scale deployment agreement with OpenAI. So Helion Energy, the company that like works on fusion, is supposedly have a deal with Microsoft about like providing power to Microsoft as soon as 2028, which is in 2 years. I think that was notable, and the fact that Sam Altman owns a third of Helion Energy is also super cool. So we get disclosure, Yam, and I think disclosure is very important for transparency, and I think that's what we definitely get. All right, folks, with a bit under 2.5 hours here with guests and different conversation about the state of AI. Thank you all for joining. It's been so fun to be back. The last thing that I want to make. Nistan. Okay, the last thing that I want to show before I drop is that beginning of the show, Nistan posted an open source scanner for the Shai Hulud mini worm, and I ran this with my. It's gonna come up here in a second. There we go. And I ran this together with my Hermes Wilfred, and luckily I'm not exposed. Thanks for the scanner. I asked it to run, and you can see all of the code that it like ran, and now I'm not exposed. There was one review finding, but it's a false positive. Nistan gave me a false positive.
It's probably from one of your chats with Hermes about this.
Yep.
It will label that as a false positive.
So I ran this task based on Nistan's like scanner, and I'm not exposed. Definitely recommend you guys also to run this. I'll add this to the show notes. Thank you so much for joining. Wolfram, one last comment before we drop.
Yeah, while you were doing this, I also gave my agent the task to set everything up that NPM and PyPy stuff will not be installed if it's younger than a day, basically, and that has been set up as well. So highly recommend everybody to do that. If you
guys, use any sandbox. Just don't leave your laptop up running like that. Like run Tmux.
Not any sandbox, Nisten. Not any
sandbox. Yeah. Use
our sponsors one is pretty good.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining. This has been Thursday Eye for May 14th. It's been so awesome to be back. Next week, I'm going to Google I/O and expect a lot of news because, as remember, always when Google I/O is about to release some stuff, OpenAI jumps in to try to cut them before XAI jumps in last. Last Google I/O was crazy, and the Google I/O before was crazy. So I'm going to be live from Google I/O, probably going to record some stuff live there, and also we'll cover everything that happens in Google I/O on Thursday and next week. So probably going to be happening from home. Please stay tuned for next week. If you missed any part of the show, Thursday is a newsletter and a podcast, and now a Shorts Clips Factory. Go find us on Instagram. We're blowing up on Instagram. Please follow there as well. Shout out to everybody here, all the co-hosts who joined: Ryan, Carson, Jan Peleg, Nistan Tayira, Wolf from Raven Wolf, and shout out to LDJ who was missing in action this week. We also had Victor Perez from Krea as a guest, and shout out to CoreWeave team that launched sandboxes, which is a very, very cool thing. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you here next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Cheers.